Hello and welcome to the National League Lowdown and a review of Game Week 20. Well, Game Week 20 already, hasn't the season just flown by? Today I'm joined by Mark, just me and Mark today for today's review. How are you today, Mark? Are you well?
Aloha, everybody. Yes, just the Satan Greavesy of the non-league podcast world here. Yes, but nothing for me to report on the Max side from yesterday, except for the archaic 2:30 postponement. Thank you very much, the officials, for not actually checking first thing in the morning. You know, you've cost a lot of people a lot of money and a lot of expense. You wouldn't be too happy if it happened to you. So come on, get a grip, will you? But yes, a lot to cover, even though there's just the two of us. But we can make it if we try.
Absolutely, and I think our 6 games that we chose in the deep dive, this is the week where it's probably the most indecisive from us. We put a little poll in our group chat, and there was different opinions.
Very difficult to put some in the actual deep dive because of the quality. Well, the quality of the league here. You know, they make our job harder.
Absolutely, that includes. We'll give you a spoiler alert now. Rochdale going top of the league, and they haven't even made the deep dive today. So credit to the league for the standard. We are going to start with a 5-goal thriller, and we're going to start with Brackley 2, York 3. So I'll start us off with this one. So when Greg Ollie scored after 16 minutes, you think routine away win, as everyone predicted. I think we all had 2s and 3-0s, and I think Callum even went as high as 4. And after 16 minutes, after his side foot volley from a kitchen cross, you feel like that's probably the pattern the game's going to go to, but it didn't at all. And Morgan Roberts fired Brackley level after they recycled the ball well. And then there was another twist in the tail as well, as Michael Nottingham headed Brackley ahead after a looped cross from Haynes. And you think 2-1, if they can get through to half-time, they've got a magnificent chance of getting something from this game. But unfortunately for them, and good news for Josh Stones, again, still on the score sheet. He's added an equaliser in the 41st minute, and it's gone in. There's 4 goals in the first half, so value for money down at Brackley yesterday. And then the man you want getting them chances late on in the game, I say late on in the 71st minute, at Ollie Pearce fired home. A lovely, just bent into the corner, and an excellent finish that gave them the 3 points. 76th minute, sorry, on that one. But yeah, probably a deserved result, but Brackley will be disappointed that they've scored 2 at home. And they're not used to conceding many, but they've conceded 3. But York, they're flying at the moment, but they've played Morecambe, they've played Braintree, they've played Brackley, and they've conceded 2 goals to all of them teams, which are teams that they shouldn't really be conceding too many goals to. So maybe defensively a bit of a worry, but with the firepower they've always got a chance of winning games, and that seems to be the case for them at the moment. Mark, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, I've emphasised it over a couple of the podcasts. When you can find a place for Josh Stones and Ollie Pearce in your starting 11, then it is bad news for the opposition. But credit to Brackley. I mean, they came hurtling back out after Greg Ollie had scored. Brackley have now re-signed Danny Newton on loan from Harborough, so that will boost their attack. Yeah, a little bit unusual not to see the number 4 next to York at the moment, but they'll be thanking their lucky stars that they've come away from Brackley with the 3 points. Would they have loved a draw? Probably, but 3 points. I mean, but this York machine is unstoppable. But let's see what they do when they come up against the title contenders, because that can all change.
Yeah, well, they've had good results recently against Carlisle and Rochdale in that thing, haven't they? So
as we keep getting reminded, yeah.
They're definitely probably the informed team in the league at the moment, and they're really starting to knock
on
with teams dropping points, which links us on quite nicely. Table toppers at the start of the day, Forest Green went to Wealdstone. We alluded this would be a tough game, Mark, and it was indeed for Forest Green.
Yeah, what a brilliant point for Wealdstone as well. I mean, their form sort of here and there, really. But any point against any league leader in any league is absolutely valuable. Isaac Moore scored for Forest Green. He's become very valuable in his loan spell from Coventry, I believe it is. And Mika Obiero. I had to practice that name before I came on and getting the goal for Wealdstone. But Sam Cox will be absolutely delighted with the point. It's not easy. It's not easy to get a point off the league leaders, as alluded, but it's not easy to go to somewhere like Wealdstone and get a point either. So yeah, I think Forest Green will be the unhappier of the two, but they can't be that unhappy because, as Wealdstone have proved this season, it's not an easy place to go, and they have had some cracking results, and that is just another one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with you on that one. I think from what I've seen, the draw was a fair result. It wasn't like Wealdstone nicked one on the break and were under pressure the whole time. It seemed a fairly even game. And that's testament to everything Wealdstone and Sam Cox is doing at the minute. They're absolutely flying. They're sitting just outside the playoff positions. But it was a bullet header from Isaac Moore that gave him a lead. It was a real old school header, just a late run into the box. A
Love
great
them
cross from
goals.
Bawambu and a great
Love
header.
them goals.
And again, a bit like the York one, you maybe then expect them to kick on, but a bit of Obiero bundled home the equaliser on 61 minutes. Then both keepers had to make crucial saves in the latter stages of this game as well. And I'm just looking at Wealdstone's recent form, and since they lost 4-0 to York on the 18th of October, they're unbeaten in 5 in the league and 6 in all competitions. So they're in a really, really good place. And as I said, they're now sitting in 9th after a fantastic result for Hartlepool leapfrogged them. But once I put my teeth back in for that one.
Absolutely, yeah. It's easy for you to say there, Craig.
But yeah, an excellent season they're having so far. If you'd have said to them you have 30 points from 20 games at the start of the season, they'd have bit your hand off. Forest Green, as we said, started the day in 1st and have finished it in 4th. So that just shows the strength of this league, really.
Yeah, it's going to be, I don't know, 7, maybe 8 for the title. You just don't know who's. I'm going to read in the 6 in 6. I'm going to allude to one team in particular who are the silent assassins, shall we say, creeping up without any minimal fuss. So, but we'll get on to that. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be such an open league, and yeah, the 3 up, 3 down thing. I mean, just call it League 3 if needs be, because that's where it is. That's where the quality lies at the moment.
Absolutely, and a team that's flying right now as well. I say flying, they've recovered from a defeat to Tamworth, but they've been flying all season, is Boreham Wood, and they went to Gateshead and, despite having a man sent off, had a very comfortable 3-0 win. The penalty, by the way, if you're looking for a player to make a mistake after 4 minutes, this is clip this up, because it's such poor defending. He just grabbed the man, and the man in the box, like anyone would, has just fallen over and given the referee a decision to make, and it was the right one, and Zach Brunt stepped up and dispatched it into the top right corner. Newton did then get sent off of Boreham Wood for he's grappled Kane Adam to the floor as he was breaking through. Was he last man? Was he not? The referee deemed so, and I'd probably agree with them on this case. And you think this is a great chance for Gateshead to get back into the game, but they kind of huffed and puffed, but never really materialised too much. And then Zach Brunt, who's obviously signed permanently in the last couple of weeks for them, and we keep singing his praises and saying how good of a signing that is for Boreham Wood. He whipped in a beauty for Boreham Wood to make it 2-0 after some patient build-up. Probably not even the goal of the day, though, to be fair, in the league. And I know you've got one you want to allude to later in that case. And then you think it can't get any worse for Gateshead. It can.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, it can.
Because Regan Boothie, who was with them last season, has just joined Boreham Wood on loan, and he had added a third in stoppage time from halfway. Now, if anyone saw Kenny McLean's goal for Scotland in midweek, you'd picture the same thing, but for me, the goalkeeper's not covered himself in any glory in this one. He's kind of got there and then flapped at it, and it's kind of just spun into the net in slow motion. But we talk about Gateshead and their troubles. They've had Regan Boothie score against them, and there was 2 other players in the league, Greg Ollie and Jean Bellahuan, if I apologise for the pronunciation on that one, who were both with them last season, who also scored. So it's a really bad day for Gateshead, and they just seem to be spiralling towards the trapdoor. And I think we've heard it was just about 500 home fans there, and
Yeah,
that shows the unrest there, and it could be the start of the end for Armstrong. But everyone is also aware there's a lot more issues there than just the manager, Mark.
yeah, I think so too. I mean, I feel so sorry for the Gateshead fans. I mean, it's a very loyal fan base at Gateshead, and Alan Armstrong came in to basically an impossible task. He just did not know what was going on behind the scenes. The failed takeover, watching every one of the star players walk out. I mean, Greg Ollie, went to York, for example. He then goes and scores against them. It really is a really tough time for Gateshead, but they're coming up against one of the premier teams in the league in Boreham Wood. I mean, Luke Garrard, if ever, I've said this before, but if ever there was a time to just, go away, then come back, how can we miss you if you won't go away? And he did, and they missed him. And now they're reaping the rewards again. Zach Brunt joining from Barnet on a permanent basis. That'll be one of the signings of the season. And as you say, the goal by Regan Booty, get back on your line. It's your job. No, you shouldn't be conceding goals like that. Not at all. Not when you're about 700 miles away from your goal as well. But just don't give them the opportunity to do it. That was a terrible goal to concede. But Boreham were flying high, but Gateshead really, really need to get a grip on what's going on, because it could end in catastrophe.
Yeah, that's 7 games in a row now without a win for Gateshead in the league. Obviously, they had the win at AFC Wimbledon, sandwiched in the middle of that in the FA Cup. But they've lost their last 4 now. They've lost to York 4-0, Solihull 2-0, 3-1 to Forest Green, and now 3-0 to Gateshead. So they're in a lot of trouble there. And as you said, if there's a team that's spiralling towards the relegation zone, it's probably them, alongside Aldershot, who we will come on to a little bit later as well, and possibly Yeovil in that conversation as well. Now 3 of probably the least formed teams in the side. The next game is covering my team, Braintree Town, and a very valuable point in the Battle of the Iron. I noticed the hashtags on the Braintree thing was the year both teams were established, and there was only 1 year between them. I think it was 1898 and 1899, or something along them lines. I'm not sure I'm completely correct on that one, but the Battle of the Iron, and it finished in a 1-1 draw. But a very good game and a very good point for Braintree after obviously picking up 3 against Truro last week. Now picking up a 4 for the week away to Scunthorpe, who have obviously been flying, but seem to be having a bit of a crisis of identity and an injury crisis at the moment, and just having a little bit of a wobble. But for a team that's just come up, if you're going to have a wobble, do it while you're in the playoff places and not looking over your shoulders down the bottom like some of the others are. So a few injury crises. I noticed a few things from their fans about the manager making changes and maybe exploiting their lack of depth. Maybe he's trying to do that to show that he needs a few more players in the door as well, because they know Braintree's changes yesterday for me made them a stronger side. From what I've seen from the Scunthorpe fans, the changes they made actually weakened them. So we were getting better as they were getting worse. So it's not a massive surprise that we equalised late on. But as we said earlier, June Bellahoun scored a great header to give them the lead 15 minutes in. And then Kamara missed a penalty for Braintree, 2 missed penalties and 2 for Braintree after Terrell Works was fouled, who looked really sharp, by the way. I've talked about his lack of confidence lately, but maybe that win has given a few of the players an added confidence, and he looked really, really sharp. The second half, Scunthorpe started probably the strongest, and then Steve Pitt, who I've said sometimes hasn't been enough proactiveness on the bench from him. Granted, he's had a lot of injuries. He made 4 changes at once. He brought on Akinde, J. Emmanuel Thomas, Blackwell, and the other one will come to me at some stage, but there's 4 at one stage, and it turned the tide in our favour. Akinde scored, lofted it over the keeper's head, but unfortunately he was given offside, which on replays, we've seen stuff on the Braintree supporters chats where they've clipped it up and he looked to be onside, but it was given, so that's that in there. 85th minute, Declan Howe missed a glorious chance to make it 2 with a bullet header that went wide of the pass when really he should have done better before Starbuck's back pass was capitalised by Tom Blackwell to level the game. And probably a fair result, to be fair, and one that Braintree will take every day. If you can pick up a point away from home against teams like Scunthorpe and start winning your home games, then you've got a much better chance of staying up. Morecambe at home on Saturday, a massive one down the bottom. If you can take 7 from Truro, Scunthorpe and Morecambe, then suddenly things are starting to get forgiven and the togetherness of the team seems to be there. So happy one for me there, Mark. One that I didn't actually vote to put in the deep dive. You guys got it in there for me, so I appreciate that. Any thoughts on the game?
Well, with good reason, because it's a great point for Braintree given the situation they're in. It could have been 3 if old Saeed Camara didn't make an unbelievable penalty miss, Jeff. But Scunthorpe, the natives are getting restless. Good job you noticed that, mate. The natives are getting restless. I mean, I had a look on Twitter. Yeah, not everybody's source of reliable information, but they're saying that whoever they've got up front, whilst Whitehall's not scoring, just aren't doing enough, which I think is a bit unfair if you see what Declan Howe has been doing this season as well.
Yeah, I think he's one of those that started the season on fire, though, Mark, and has really struggled in the last 10 games or so. So, the football fans, we all are, we're very fickle. We remember the recent times.
Well, I can give him I can give him some defence. I mean, this is his first season as a full-time pro as well. Spent so many years at Gainsborough. So, but trust me, he has got the quality to, get firing. But when it's always the same. When you're coming up against a team that's in the bottom 4, they're battling for every single point they can get. You're not going to have it easy. But as you said, I mean, if they're going to have a blip, do it now. Do it now rather than the tail end of the business end of the season when you're absolutely relying on every single point to go up and you don't want an implosion there. So if you're going to have a little bit of a blip, I mean, a point against a team down, circling the drain, if you will, is a valuable point. But, don't lose heart, Scunthorpe fans. You'll be up scoring again. But, Braintree, I mean, Emmanuel Thomas, big bad John Akinde. I mean, that's a couple of folks you want to get on the pitch, whether they score or not. Akinde can put himself about. Emmanuel Thomas can score, as Braintree fans have already found out. So a valuable point, and get some penalty practice in. And it could have been 3, but no, valuable point nonetheless.
Yeah, the fourth player that came on, I've just remembered, was Fletcher Hubbard, who's come back from a loan spell in step 3 and has looked really part of the team. And the biggest thing we've got now is a bit of depth that we didn't have. Aidan Francis Clark.
You've needed that with the injury, because wasn't it 7 or 8 who were out at one point?
Yeah, yesterday was the first time in a while we've named a full 7 on the bench, and that's with Shay Cooper and Tommy Smith still suspended as well. And Aidan Francis Clark, who was probably our mainstay of our defence, got sent off against Chelsea, had been suspended since, came back yesterday and didn't even get off the bench. So that shows a little bit.
There we are. That could be a good thing. Get players worried for their position so they play better.
No, absolutely. Yeah, the 4 changes were massive and a really good result. Talking about good results, Mark, I'm going to go to your newest favourite team, and that's Woking, winning away in the local derby away at Aldershot.
Absolutely. Well, Woking fans, I know there's a fans page who are quite delighted that they have gone to moist toast. You're now up to crispy toast. You're on. What has happened? I'm loving this at the minute. 2-1 away at Aldershot. Yes, indeed. Now, do forgive my pronunciations on this, but Chinwiki Okoli and Josh Osude getting the goals for my dear friends down at Woking. It's been much needed. And has it been coming? Only Woking's players will tell you if it's been coming or not, but it has been much needed. They had to, and they're up to 13th now, I believe. Aldershot, they got to go through Will Nightingale, but there's a lot to do still. They're being sucked into the relegation vortex, and it's something that they will want to put a stop to. I mean, you had Tommy Widrington in there at the start of the season where goals were flying in both ends for them. They were scoring and conceding like nobody's business. But John Coleman, he's got an experienced head on him. Let him assess. The transfer window will be open soon. They can start to make reinforcements, get rid of the players who he deems not quite what he needs.
Yeah, I think
to
he
get out
started
of this
that
battle.
process already, Mark. Of course, obviously the window doesn't close in the National League; it's open all the way till March. So he seemed to be moving players on. So they may be a bit thin on the ground, but I think he's got to get them out before he gets them in. But he
Exactly,
started the process of getting them out.
That is the most difficult thing. I mean, it's great when you can bring in players, but if there's some that are surplus to requirements, you have to convince somebody to buy them. It's the toughest job of all. But John Coleman, yeah, he knows what battle he got on his hands here, and he will use that knowledge, experience to get them out of there. But he needs to do something quickly. But crispy toast, you can have a good one tonight, or today, or any day.
Yeah, and that's what an 8-game unbeaten run gives you, isn't it?
Oh, fantastic. Confidence. And you know, it's gonna be crispy toast with butter on for on the next run. Give yourself the 3 games and there's an upgrade on the cards.
Absolutely. I haven't got too much to add on that one, Mark, so I'll let you go on to Truro 2, Sutton 3.
Oh, dearie me. It is looking perilous for Truro at the moment. Not helped by the really bad injury to Dominic Johnson Fisher. He had to be stretchered off. Nobody likes to see that to any player, really. But Lirek Hassani got 2 for Truro, but Sutton just went that one better. JJ Harris, he scored, and then Kai Jennings, somebody actually said, where did they find this guy from? And he's worth his weight in goals, and he got another one that will easily be in our goal of the month awards coming up soon. I mean, we've got some hard choices on that one, but Aggie Ball seems to be working. It does seem to be working. It's getting the right results. Sutton heading in the right direction after a very miserable start. So Aggie, oi, oi, oi.
Yeah, they're doing really well at the moment, Sutton. Obviously, our thoughts go out to Dominic Johnson Fisher and everyone involved with him. Obviously, it looked a very bad injury at the time. It was a double blow for them because obviously Harris scored in the same move that he was down injured. But Kai Jennings, we talked about their recruitment in the summer and it being miles off, I think was your terminology at times. And
yeah,
they seem to have picked the loan market really, really well, added an experience in Jake Taylor in the midfield as well. And Aggie Ball seems to be flying. They still seem a little bit suspect at the back. Perhaps a centre-half is still needed there, someone to calm the storm. But or they're also not got their first-choice goalkeeper in goal at the moment. But they're turning these games where they may have lost 3-2 into 3-2 wins.
Yes, so exactly. I mean, if you concede 2, always try and score 3. It's that simple, and that is what they're doing at the moment. The change of fortunes, the change of style, and as you say, if they could, I think a couple of tweaks are going to be made to Sutton, but at last they've got the recruitment where it should have been in the summer, and I will still be a huge critic of the all the eggs in one basket process that was put into it. But no, they're getting it right, and the results are showing.
Yeah, they've added experience and exciting loans, and then two things together, experience and exciting, can be a really good combination. I think maybe they just went for up and coming players, which on paper looked quite good signings, but gelling all of them together at once was a difficulty. So adding that experience in, plus the exciting loans of Jennings, Foyo, I think his name is Osman Foyo. Apologies for the pronunciation on that one. Players like that have really kind of got them not away from trouble yet, but they're out the relegation zone. They're above Gateshead now, so they're in a much better place than they were this time 6 weeks ago. And I know Louis absolutely delighted with that one.
Oh, he'll be a happy boy. He'll be a happy boy.
I'm going to hand back to you now, Mark, for 6 in 6 today. As we said, there's some games in here involving teams at the top that probably feel aggrieved to not be in the deep dive. So I'll let you get started on this one.
Yeah, very, very, very difficult choices to put in the deep dive and the 6 in 6. But here we go. We'll start off with the return of Chris Millington to Halifax with Solihull. Didn't quite work out the way it did. Will Harris, the Halifax signing from Spennymoor in the summer, watched him when he in a trial game against Mac when they played in the friendly. He looked good then, looked even better on Saturday. A hat trick Harris. Fantastic. Game was marred, 2 red cards, Brad Nicholson for Solihull and Jamie Cook for Halifax. But yeah, Halifax, great win and a great confidence boost for Will Harris, who's saying, don't forget I'm still here. Next one, Southend 3, Altrincham 0. Southend have had a couple of ropey results, as it were, but back on form. Ollie Coke and Nathan Ralph and Josh Walker. They could even they missed a penalty with Gus Scott Morris, but it didn't affect the score too much. Dan Sassy got a red card for Altrincham. Will it hamper Neil Gibson's quest to become Altrincham manager? I wouldn't think so. He's got some better results than this. But no, Southend back on track. And Rochdale going top of the league. A 2-1 win at Tamworth. Kyron Gordon and our friend Manny D. We really must learn how to pronounce your surname, sir. We're making you sound like an orange juice. Absolutely ridiculous. But yes, 2-1. Dan Creaney got the goal for Tamworth, but Rochdale leaping on top of the league again. Shows how topsy-turvy it is, as is this topsy-turvy one. Boston 1, Carlisle 2. Harvey McAdam proving what an asset he is to Mark Hughes at the moment for Carlisle. And his name is a sharp. Linnell John Lewis. His name is a sharp. He's also an absolute cult hero. He got the goal, but there will be more in depth on that in a Boston special with Graham Coughlin coming soon. Look out, Boston fans, for that. Eastleigh 0, Hartlepool 2. I've seen some comments made to us by Hartlepool fans. Oh, you're not mentioning us. Keep it quiet. Go under the radar, because you've been unbeaten now for I think it's 8 or 9 games. Cameron John, how many, Craig?
I believe it's six league games.
Oh, 6. I'm just predicting into the future now. Cameron John, Nathan Sharon, Nicky Featherstone doing a really, really good job, and Hartlepool doing the silent assassins. They're coming up very, very slowly, but doing the job efficiently. So Hartlepool fans, don't you worry, we've not forgotten about you. And Morecambe 0, Yeovil 0, Tavern Campbell missed a penalty. Let's move on.
Yeah, with Hartlepool, they've only lost 2 of their last 10, and they were away to Carlisle and at home to York. So
you can't argue with that. And as I say, Hartlepool fans, we ain't forgotten you. We've been looking, but You know what happens when people go on about how well you're doing, you're bound to get duff at some point.
Yeah,
So we'd
Nicky
rather not.
Featherstone obviously still in charge there, the interim manager. They seem to have taken their time to get a permanent appointment in, and he seems to have done absolutely nothing wrong to get his hat thrown firmly into the ring.
Yeah, he's put his name in, and rightly so. I mean, he's getting the results, and that's what it's all about.
So yeah, I think he's one Louis worried about, because he wants Aggie Ball to be the architect of them getting manager in a month. But Featherstone's clearly going to be up there. Maynard, we've obviously got all this coming in the next week or so. I think we've got one more round of fixtures before we get our votes out. But that pretty much brings today to an end, Mark. All I can say is that obviously the predictions were done as well. Callum, the admin, joined us, but we did have a special with Robbie Savage where he went a little bit in depth on all the teams and giving us insights before we made our predictions. And it clearly helped me, as I did top the week with 18 points. Louis and Callum followed me in 17. Yourself in 9, and Dan, maybe too much sunning himself in Gran Canaria, could only get the 8 points. Dan will be back tomorrow with Mark and Louis for that Graham Cochran special as discussed. And we're hoping for one more manager special this week with hopefully John Coleman of Aldershot joining us on Wednesday, where we'll also be getting some insights from him before predictions come out as well for next Saturday's games. Mark, I feel like this last half hour has absolutely flown by. It's been a pleasure as always. Hope you've enjoyed it.
As always.
Absolutely. And thank you for listening to the National League Lowdown. We will see you again very, very soon.